Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Wednesday, November 13th. Just a few more days and it'll be Thanksgiving. Hard to believe, isn't it? Hey, as we get started today, yesterday, the Dow was basically flat. We hit another record high, I think, on the S&P 500. And sure, Dave and I will talk about that here in a little bit. But before we get started, I want to discuss again as you head into retirement or start thinking about retirement, or if you're already retired, folks, it's vitally important that you know what your risk number is. And that's really one of the things that we can help you determine as we help coach you into and through retirement. Vitally important. Give us a call. Let us help you start that process. Give us a call at 863-382-0037. Again, that's 863-382-0037. Hey, Dave will be with us here in just a moment, and we'll get started.
Vintage Lee Ann Womack there. Good morning. I am Morning Dave. We're at 8:41, 19 here before 9. Time to check in on your money and see what's going on Wall Street today. Yes, everything's back open again, and we're watching everything from politics to economics. Help us do that. We go downtown to the offices of Statler Financial Services, where Phillip Statler is standing by. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Dave. I hope your day's going well. It's nice to get out there, a little brisk walk this morning, out there, a little cool weather coming through.
Yeah, I was telling the story about one of the stray cats I feed about 4 a.m. insisted upon eating out in the driveway, even though it was a little bit of a mist out there. I don't think Brownie particularly cared. It just felt so doggone nice compared to the heat of the garage for the last 6 months. She was perfectly happy to get a little wet just to enjoy the fresh air.
Yeah, it's definitely a breath of fresh air for sure.
Absolutely. Fresh would be the underscored word this morning. I got to admit, I've naturalized it. Felt downright cold. Well, we start out with inflation, and I got about a few million Social Security recipients that could have said 0.4% increase in October. That could have happened in September and made them a little happier, couldn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, because they look at that number to adjust their cost of living increase. And so it came in at 0.4%. So it was a little bit more than expected. They expected to come in at 0.3, but still, it's still inflation's less than 2% right now.
Yeah, when you look at the annualized rate, it moved the annualized consumer price index, or inflation rate, up from a rock-crushing 1.7% to an even more rock-crushing 1.8%. So far, inflation has been whipped. I noticed the core rate, once you got rid of food and energy, it was only up 0.2%. And the Federal Reserve is trying to shoot for a 2% inflation rate. Maybe the president had a point yesterday, didn't he?
Well, that's true. I mean, the core CPI came in as expected. And, Powell's out there, I think you would probably agree from an economic standpoint that he's probably on the right track, keeping interest rates not too low. But what did the president do yesterday? Just what you and I said yesterday he shouldn't do. And that's lambast the president of the Federal Reserve, saying that he thinks we should go to negative interest rates like the rest of the world has done. And that did not set well with the markets.
I got to sit back and say, one of the I'm not 100% sure where in the world of politics we can find somebody that isn't an economic ninny.
Yeah, you and I have said, look, we think Powell's done some good things. He should be on Trump's good side. I don't think he can do anything to get on Trump's good side now.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling of the process. I mean, what have we had? 3 interest rate decreases. The economy is still roaring. We got the stock market bumping its nose on records every time we turn around. And poor Powell is sitting there saying, I know a recession's got to happen sometime. I need some tools in my box. And if I go all the way down on interest rates, I got nothing left. So he's got to do something conservative. And frankly, he's done more than what you and I frankly thought he probably should have, but it's working, and it's hard to argue with that. And then the president sits there and beats him on the head with a 2x4 in front of a bunch of economic bigwigs in New York. And
if that wasn't enough, Dave, he came out and said, basically, if China doesn't sign this deal, he's going to increase the tariffs to them. And if that's not enough, he said to all the other European countries out there, if you mistreat us, we're going to increase your tariffs too.
Yeah, gosh golly, let's rattle some sabers on tariffs while we're at it. I mean, Okay, fine. Trump is a shoot from the hip sort, and everybody takes everything that the president says, especially on the international front, takes it with a grain of salt, tones it down by about 3 volume levels, and then considers it. But even so, while we're sitting here bumping our nose on records, that just did not strike me as something that helped the market, and we ended up with, lucky. We ended up green yesterday on balance. I've never seen the Dow end up net zero for the day, but call it seafoam green on balance when you take the other markets in, and I guess we're lucky we ended up there, right?
Yeah, we are. As soon as basically the S&P was at an all-time high until the president made his comments, and then it started to slide. So
Yeah,
still finished in the green, but not at the high.
Yeah, we were way up there for a little while, and I can tell when the chat ended on the dais at New York because there's a big curve downward in the indexes as it went. The other thing going on today might turn things the other way. The object of President Trump's scorn, Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, he gets to go to Congress today to talk to a bunch of other politicians and tell them why he's doing everything right.
Yeah, his testimony there, I'm not sure how much that's going to really weigh in on the stock market as these two, the president and him, continue to battle back and forth. It's more about the actions he's going to take versus the testimony he gives.
And that's as much as anything going to be the reading of the tea leaves. Every single pronoun he uses is going to be parsed to try to figure out which direction his head is really heading.
Oh, that's true. Everybody tries to figure that out so they can get ahead of the curve.
Understood. And the thing is, probably tragically, that testimony is going to get absolutely no attention in the press because the only thing any of the press is going to be talking about is broadcasting the House impeachment hearings wall to wall today, and nobody's going to even notice that poor Powell was on the Capitol Hill steps today, let alone inside the Capitol itself. Kind of at the end of earnings season, but I know we've still got a few household names out there that are giving us quarterly reports. You got any good news to share with us this morning?
We got a few things hanging out there. We got Canadian Goose, the outerwear company, that they earned about 13 cents more than what expected. Revenue was well above the forecast. They have really expanded into Asia, actually doubled their Asia revenue this last quarter compared to the quarter before. So that good things there. They're traded on the Toronto Exchange, so we don't really have any pre-market numbers for them, but still a good sign when it comes to that market. The other one I have is Energizer, the battery company.
Okay.
They came in with 12 cents ahead of estimates. Revenue also came in above the forecast. They were helped by some acquisitions, I guess, they made over this last year, helped their top and bottom line. And so they're up this morning about 5.25%.
What in the heck else can Energizer buy? There's only like 3 manufacturers of alkaline batteries that are out there anymore. What else could they buy?
Well, there's some battery and auto care businesses that they purchased.
Retail chains, in other words.
I guess so, yeah. Okay. So the next one I have is kind of interesting. It's called Luckin Coffee. Have you had any?
Luckin Coffee? Never heard of it.
Coffee. It's
never heard of it.
Well, you'd have to fly to China probably to get it. It's a China-based coffee chain. They lost 32 cents a share, which sounds terrible, but it's better than expected. They're by about 5 cents a share, and the revenue was above forecast. They are butting heads with Starbucks over there in China, trying to make a name for themselves, and so far they've done well. They're up 13.5% this morning.
Cool. Glad to hear somebody's got some good news, even though it's on the side of the pond that would surprise us.
Yeah.
As a side mention, Hong Kong is still in an uproar. When we get to the international markets, it'll show. They're still protesting right and left, so anybody doing well in the Chinese markets is doing well today.
Well, that's true. The other one I have is Smile Direct. The IPO came out recently. They do those, I don't know, what do you call them? The things that go in your mouth and straighten your teeth out. Orthodontic stuff. Yeah, orthodontic stuff. And they lost 83 cents a share, which sounds terrible again. but it was better than expected. They were expected to lose almost $1 a share. So their dental products saw revenue come in higher than expected. But here's the deal. They said, hey, this quarter expenses are going to be a lot higher. We're expecting not to do quite as well. So they're down 7.75% this morning.
I'm betting that commodities that come in from overseas probably do that, because if I remember when I had tinsel teeth, a lot of that is made out of platinum, which is a little harder to get domestically, and trade is even messes up the braces market, I guess, huh?
Well, and I think, Dave, they do a lot of the plastic stuff, the invisible type stuff that goes in your mouth is, I think, what they
Okay.
use.
All
So
right.
let's go to the cannabis industry, right? Which is kind of interesting because somebody asked me just yesterday, hey, shouldn't we be investing in marijuana? Well, here's an example of why maybe that's not the place to be. Tilray came out. They lost 34 cents a share. That was 5 cents more than what was expected. Their revenue did beat. A matter of fact, if you look at their revenue from a year ago, it was up quintuplet. What is that? Is that 6, 7? What? 8? What is that?
Quintuple be 5 times. That'd be 5 times.
5 times. 5 times.
Yeah.
So big time there. They've added some new business lines, some new products, but they're still trading down because they kind of missed on the EPS. They're down about 2.3% this morning.
They they smoked all the profits, Philip.
And the last one I have for you today is one that's not something you and I really look at. It's called Datadog. They are a analytics platform that analyzes how people access your website, how they access all these different things. It gives businesses some numbers to run off of and to tweak things. They lost 4 cents a share. That was better than expected by 10 cents. They were expected to come in at 14 cents loss. They saw a pretty good jump in revenue, exceeded the analyst expectations. They went public just in September. They gave an upbeat forecast for the current quarter, and they're trading up almost 14% this morning.
That's one bit of good news to polish us into the table setting. Setting said table this morning. Yesterday was a flat 0 for the Dow. Almost never see that happen, but it went absolutely nowhere at the end of the day. NASDAQ up by a little under 22. Standard & Poor's ended up gaining just under 5. So even after the rattling it took from the president's rubber chicken speech, we still ended up with a net positive day overall. 45 minutes before we open this morning, Philip, what do the futures look like today?
They are not green, Dave. They are definitely red today as we head out of the front gates here. Everything's about 1/3%. The Dow's down 83. The S&P 500 is down a little over 8.5, and the Nasdaq's down almost 25 points. So we've got some red ink across the board. And when we go to look at what we're doing in terms of the commodities market, which makes sense to me that we're getting gold and silver are bouncing up today. Gold's up about 0.7, silver's up 1%, and we've got crude oil heading down about 1/3% to $56.59 a barrel right now.
All righty. International markets all are red. At the close, Japan was off by a bit. I mentioned that Hong Kong was in an absolute free fall yesterday after all the violence over there. Europe generally trading down, following up on us and talking about the upset caused by President Trump's rubber chicken speech yesterday, Philip. First time we've had a major move on bonds in, probably a week and a half. 10-year Treasury bonds are off by about 7 basis points this morning, as evidently a few investors are saying, whoa, get me to safety for a little while, right?
Well, that's true. As we continue to look at the volatility in the market, we saw a lot of up days, and now all of a sudden we're seeing some down days. And this thing's going to be volatile for a little while. October, November, December. I mean, look at what happened last year, right? We had a major fall off in the fourth quarter, and so I think people are remember that, and so they're a little bit more on edge too as some of the information comes out.
Absolutely. Fourth quarter can be weird at times, which brings us to, if you're getting close to retirement, avoiding weirdness counts an awful lot for being able to ensure a solid retirement. That takes advice. How do I get that advice from you, Philip?
You know, that's where it's important to have a coach on your side that's looking out for your best interest. So let us help coach you into and through retirement. Call us at 863-382-0037 and schedule your financial x-ray review to get started in that process. Join us every weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m., not noon this Saturday. We got the Gator football on TV, but 6 a.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings on News Talk 730. And you can always catch us on our website at statlerfinancial.com.
And, of course, here tomorrow morning with a post-mortem on today and look ahead for tomorrow. Phillip, thank you much. We'll see you tomorrow, all right?
All right, you have a great day.
Thank you, sir. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey guys, again, I want to thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I hope we've given you some information that's useful for you. But remember this, if you are 5 years out from retirement or you are already retired, you need a coach in your corner to help get you into and through retirement. That's what we do here at Statler Financial. Call us, let us help you get started on the right foot, create the income you're going to need in retirement. Call us at 863-382-0037. Have a great day. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow.